to see the ways I was coping in life versus the ways that I was alive. And,
Woo!
and that kind of question can help lead us to really what's powerful about the special place we call Earth.
Yeah, it is really precious. And what are we really doing here? And I love how you speak to.
Truly, at the end of a life, to think that somehow we're going to feel better when we did less,
Ah,
instead of acknowledging what our full potential was and allowing ourselves to explore that. I believe we're truly satisfied when we connect to the calling that we have that has meaning beyond us, when we start to step into it.
somebody asked me the other day on LinkedIn, well, how do you keep your competitive edge if you're putting your heart in the game? I'm like, that is the competitive edge. Because
Yeah.
people, the more
That's the
precious.
secret.
Yeah. This is the Leading with Love podcast. We're gathered here to open our hearts, expand our souls, live fully in our gifts, and co-create the world we want to see. Let's dive right in. Hi there, and welcome back, or welcome to the Leading with Love podcast. I'm your host, Shauna. I'm so happy you're here. And today is an epic conversation day, and you know that we love these. I have a beautiful guest. His name is Kevin White, and he and his wife, Jamie, we speak the same language in so many ways, and I'm excited to have this conversation and to bring it to you. It's from our hearts to yours, and whether you are watching or listening, I know we're going to bring so much value to you today. They founded a company, a movement called Belief Crew. And Believe Crew, sorry, I got that wrong. It's Believe Crew, although that would work as well. And they are on this amazing mission to support people in unleashing their potential, whether you're an organization or you're an individual. And they are taking people deep to do the inner work and then step into the gifts that you have been given. So I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. I will bring Kevin on, and forgive me for saying Believe Crew. So Believe Crew co-founder Kevin White.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I'm really grateful. And again, forgive me. So tell me about Believe Crew, because I have a bunch of questions for you, of course, for us to have a great conversation. But if there's anything you'd like to introduce that you and Jamie are up to, or the background, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as I often say, like, it really started with Jamie's mom. Um, both of our moms passed away from cancer in 2008 and 2007. So, but Jamie's mom especially, like, both of them were alternative medicine type people. But Jamie's mom and her parents had a couple very successful businesses. They had a great relationship, and everything seemed to be going well. And then there was this period of time where she was struggling with cancer, and so that really got us started on asking, like, okay, so what does it look like if someone is that healthy and that beautiful? What does it look like to have real success in your life? And so the conversations we had with her in the last 6 months are really the founding of what Belief Crew became.
With Jamie's mom.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so that's beautiful, because it's such a testament to the fact that our stories really inform our gifts, and some of the darkest times that we go through are really so formative, and it's like going through that fire that forges who you are and what you want to speak to in this world. And it, even though it was so difficult and challenging, it's a heart opening experience.
Yeah, and it was very beautiful. And they got to have, we have 6 boys I just mentioned to you,
Yeah.
but we had a couple of them at that time, so they got to be grandparents before all of that.
Oh.
And actually, Jamie tells a lot of times, like, it's really like the first time she saw what me, like, taking care of someone, and just like me stepping in
You, Kevin.
and letting my own, yeah, letting my own gifts come out to help her mom navigate through that experience of death. So
Wow.
it was very deep, and I guess because I was naturally talented, I mean, not that I go around saying I want to do that a lot, but it was just something that came out of me, and I was a little more heartfelt than normal through
But
that
what was
experience.
it?
So
What was it that came out of you? What would you say those gifts were that blossomed in that time?
I would say being my emotional side,
Mm.
uh, having a place where that was felt okay, and
Oh,
letting
wow.
it flow, and then also I'm not I'm not someone that like necessarily wants to beat around the bush. So when there's something to be said, I'll say it. And so I don't know. Not that everything I said was perfect, but it was definitely a time where Jamie saw a different side of me, and I think that was another thing that was a spark for the future.
Well, that's really interesting because you're talking, I mean, to me, the way I see that is speaking to authenticity and speaking to
Hmm.
just being present to what's there and not pussyfooting around it and speaking, as you said, what needs to be said. And there's something beautiful there because it's real. And I
Hmm.
have lost both of my parents, and I was with my mom when she died, and she was in hospice, and I worked with hospice for a decade, and
Yeah.
my dad passed last year, and I know that sitting beside a parent in their last days experience, and it's pretty epic in terms of experiences. And even though we all go through it, or most of us do, I guess, um, it's so life changing in so many ways. And I
Yeah,
love
for sure.
what you said about just stepping up and Jamie seeing that in you. Not just that you discovered and started using some of your gifts, but that it was a spark for your relationship
Hmm.
and your future.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like her mom, Susan was her name, and I had a good relationship, and that was part of it. Like, I think it wasn't my mom, even though it was my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So, they had a lot of grief that they were going through, and it was interesting to be, you know, there, but not necessarily like it was my mom. Definitely prepared me for the next year when my mom
Yeah.
passed away, but um, yeah. So I think there's definitely a thread of a story for me of leadership throughout my career, even in high school. But it was like this thing that I didn't see in myself, but other people saw, and so
Ah.
I'm very grateful to all those people that called that out of me, and it took me a long time to understand that it was there and to see the ways I was coping in life versus the ways that I was alive. And,
Ooh.
um, yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's a great sentence.
belief
The ways,
truest.
the ways
Yeah.
that I was coping versus the ways that I was alive. Right there. That's stunning. That's the work right there that
Yes, it
everybody
is.
gets to look at, right? When you're on a personal development journey or you're on a spiritual awakening journey, which they kind of blend into one another, blend into one another. I'm sure you agree. Um,
Yes.
it's that when you're starting to put that focus on yourself and that lens on yourself and look at some places that maybe are uncomfortable, you see the ways that you've been coping. You
Hmm.
see the patterns that you've
Yes.
been running. You see how you've been showing up that's inauthentic. And the aliveness is buried underneath all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I love that you said people showed that to you and reflected that to you and said beautiful things about you at points in your life, and it sounds like it was cumulative to the point where you went, "Okay, wait. That's true. I might have gifts and I might be valuable and I might be strong and powerful and wonderful and smart and whatever I'm putting words to it, obviously, right? Leadership
Hmm.
qualities. And
Hmm.
that's what you're now doing for others."
Yeah. Yeah. I really feel like it's important for us to be aware of our gifts. Like yeah, you're just our natural human gifts too, but our spiritual gifts. Like we're often not in tune to that. And people ask me all the time, like, well, how do you figure that out?
Same.
Well, it's gonna help to to do some healing and to get to like try some healing practices, even if it's as simple as acupuncture or massage. The you know Doing some of those things to Reiki would be another one, right? Like kind of open up your body a little bit to what might be something that's there, and and you're gonna at some point need to ask what your gifts are. Um, And I would say that a lot of people at the beginning don't want to ask that. They don't want to ask questions of themselves, and I get that. Like we
Mm,
don't have the confidence that
it's a
our
block.
intuition can give us, that our intuition can give us the answers. So, so it's good to work with someone that's done it before. Find someone in your network or.
You were speaking to something so beautiful about acupuncture and somatic work, body work, because our bodies are created by everything that we've ever been through, right? Or informed by, and they
Mhm.
hold so much. And I find when people do deep stretching, for instance, in yoga, or like you said,
Mhm.
acupuncture, things like that, it releases things that are
Mhm.
emotional or that feel emotional in a good way. Like
Yes.
it may feel painful in the moment, but you've been carrying that around with you. And so once you have that, it gives me the shivers, that release, then you can see what else is there in you that is beautiful and sparkly and your gifts, like you spoke to.
Yeah. I'm getting to a place where we can connect to our intuition authentically, honestly, and appreciate it. However that happens. For me, it was working with healers and understanding that I had my own, like, I started to receive things that they were saying at the same time as them. So I was like, oh, I guess I can do this too. And so
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, just being willing to step into a place that is out of our comfort zone, uh, anything really, to get started, and to let some of the spiritual side of us play around, have some fun with it, feel our intuition a little bit more. Um, what I've learned is I mean, a lot of women are intuitive, right? Because it's like something you guys talk about. But for guys, like we do use our intuition a lot in business. At least the people the guys that I've talked to. So pay attention to, regardless of where you come from or what gender you are, that we're already using our intuition. We just don't think about it quite the way that we would if we were going to use it to find our spiritual gifts.
Oh, wow. That's really amazing because I was thinking while you were speaking about it, it's so cool to hear a man talking about his intuition because, of course, women do talk about it. It's a cliche, right? Women's intuition. But we all have these gifts. And one of the parts of
Mm-hmm.
this conversation that I love having is we're awakening consciously, we're awakening into these gifts, and we all have them, these extrasensory perceptions. It's not something that's talked about a lot yet, but it is more and more, which is why you're being
Mm-hmm.
invited onto podcasts, which is why all of us are having these conversations and it's getting more and more mainstream. It's not that they weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been dampened and
Correct.
hidden and suppressed. And I mean, you know that as well as anyone, right? But for a man to be acknowledging, and maybe, as you said, in the business world, maybe a man would see it, oh, it's just my gut instinct, right? He might
Yes.
not
Yep.
use the word
Exactly.
intuition, but we all
Yeah.
have it. It's that inner knowing, it's that inner voice. That's the truth, way more true than anything in the outside world.
Yes. Yeah. I think the difference. I think to our ancestors, like one thing I've learned in being in Mexico is like really, it's best to honor, love, and appreciate those that went before us,
Hmm.
and understanding they didn't necessarily get it wrong. And it might be tempting today, as those of us that want to be more spiritual, look at people that aren't or don't appear to be, that they're the problem. But maybe what's best to consider is just like there's a big shift happening, and we all play different roles in that shift, and we're getting more and more support for moving towards spirituality as the universe even changes to support that. Right? It's this is the time for this level of connection and this type of living, and that's why or so many people are interested in it. Not everyone yet, obviously, but so
So
many people
many.
are interested. Yeah, it's not like if you go back 5 years, there's not near as many podcasts. There's not near as many people interested in what's happening. And now, not only is the training and the practitioners and the interest growing, but also we've got very gifted kids at a
Ooh.
high rate,
Mm-hmm.
and so understanding, I think it really behooves those of us that are in our 40s and 50s to understand that the younger generations are extremely gifted and
Yes.
extremely spiritual, and so we're going to be supported at such a high level with where they're going, um,
Amazing.
and so yeah, we have a part to play here and just
Yes.
opening the way and
Woo!
letting them even lead us.
Well, I mean, they say this is the most exciting thing in time and space, right? This intersection right here now on Earth, and that I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know if it's true, and we won't know, but that souls are lining up, and we got this lottery ticket of being here, even though it can be very challenging and painful. It's also a pivotal time for our species, right? Unquestionably,
Yes.
stuff is happening. Woo, shivers. And the kids that are coming in, the veil is thinner, right? We all had those gifts, but they were just kind of under sledge as you go back to our moms and dads and grandparents. They just didn't even maybe even
Mm-hmm.
ponder the things that we get to lean into now.
Yeah.
And then the kids, they don't even need to ponder it. They're just there. They never lost it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it is a special time, and I mean, I don't have a clue why
No.
necessarily. I have a few clues, but like, think about at least my grandparents, like coming out of the
Yeah. Mine
Depression
too.
era kids, and like how much they need to worry about survival and, you know, making enough to keep food on the table. And yes, we still have those same concerns, but yet, like, really with AI and stuff, we've got a lot more free time than they ever dreamed of. And so a lot of us are using that time to grow and to become more spiritual. So,
Well, that's a really beautiful point because, just even if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, right? If we're in survival mode, which they were, you're not
yeah,
really thinking
yes,
about beauty and expression and soul callings and things like that. And so, what
yeah,
a blessing that, they handed down a better life to our parents. Just financially,
hmm,
security wise, sanctuary of a home wise, in many cases. And now we get to explore what it really means to be human and what's going on here and what our spiritual gifts are. It's such a gift to be able to have the space and the intellect and the heart, the opportunity to
hmm,
do this for ourselves, let alone support others in doing it. How incredible.
yeah. And we can see in history it's happened before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's definitely been times that were and peoples that were more connected and brought beautiful things that we even rely on today. Um,
Well,
so,
you must see that in Mexico.
yes, certainly the Mayans, and I guess that's the culture I'm most connected to.
Okay, so versus I was thinking more of, just even Mexicans and people who are there and they have such a strong cultural heritage and attachment to beautiful food and the land and things like that. And I mean, there are
Hmm.
still pockets. There are still pockets of people who are stewards and um, understand spiritual connection and haven't been taken over by the modern world machine. And here we come along to open that up again as well. You have six
Yeah.
boys. I'm just thinking about those kids and what incredible guardians you are.
Yeah. Well, we gave up the idea that we are the ones that um, like have to teach them everything, and started to realize, with the last three that they are here to teach us in many cases, and that they are like, think about
Mm,
a little baby and how spiritual a baby is. Like,
yeah.
they're pretty much, they are completely spiritual.
Yeah.
So as if we can uh, let them be who they are, which is what we've done. Nothing like my older kids are beautiful too, and a lot of the challenges that we pass to them, they've done well with, and they're learning from. So it's not like when we mess up that it's permanent either.
Well, they're pretty
But
resilient, yeah, and they know who they are.
yeah, so but when we had a 7 year break after our moms passed, because it just was like, this is a lot. We have three
Ooh,
kids already, and now we don't have
yeah.
grandmoms.
Hmm.
but then we decided to have more, and I'm glad we did because we got to experience the other side of that coin of just really seeing them as spiritual, working with them in the womb, and
Oh, wow.
letting them be, um, understanding who they were before we ever saw them, that kind of thing. At the last one is really the one we did the most with that, but um, yeah, I think that that's a beautiful way to look at things, and letting them explore and supporting them in
Yes.
exploring.
Well, what a different way of parenting. It's a fundamental shift of recognizing that this child came through you but is not yours. And I mean, it's been said before, but this is that in action, right? Here is a spiritual, whole, complete, incredible being. I'm getting so many shivers. I love it. That came through us but is
Mm.
facing the world like, okay, they're here to explore it and see what this is all about, and you're this beautiful, you know, safe space for them to do that and encourage them and
Hmm.
and also watch them and observe and learn. And of course you have guidance for them, but it's a whole different paradigm than you will do what I say and you will sit down and shut up and you will, be seen and not heard and all. Like, it's just a completely new way of parenting. Not new, that's the wrong word. You're right.
Hmm.
This is none of this is new, because all of this stuff has just been in the past few hundred years has been lost, right? Or sublimated.
Yes. Well, actually, there's a book. A lot of what we've done in our family came from a book from the 1950s. You can look it up if you wish. It's called Summerhill. It's
Hmm.
about a boarding school in the UK, uh, and they didn't do what we're doing, but they had this concept of, I forget what they called them, like council meetings, where the students had a say. And we do that for our family, and that's one of the things that's helped us support each other in this way, uh, where we have family meetings, and everyone that is old enough to speak up and make a point can have a vote, including us, like at the same level as their parents. So we can get outvoted pretty easily.
Wow. It's a
Um,
team,
yeah, and
collaborative.
that's been really supportive for me because I used to think that I needed to be this magic human that was, you know, be a dad, right?
To be a
Like all the
dad.
things, right? And actually, when I understood that we're in this together, maybe we could consider possibly that we choose our families
Yeah.
before we come into the world based on what we want to experience. And that in our family today, like there's definitely, um, it's kind of like we're a soul family, like we've
Mm-hmm.
been in life before together. And so there's just a lot more going on than what one single human can perceive. So if we think about it as more as like let's talk about things together and let's decide together, and what we discovered is that our kids were like harder disciplinarians between the two of them, between them, and
Then you guys were.
yeah, often, yeah, and they often gave us like really good advice too. That you know, Um, when we moved to Mexico, we had a family meeting to announce that that was decided, and that we didn't include him in that because it was a calling for us,
Yeah.
and but they acknowledged right away that it felt right,
Wow.
like they were able to feel that with us, and so yeah, it's been an experiment. It's not
Right.
perfect, but yeah.
Well, it takes you down that path of, did they come here to support you in that, and did you come here to support them in whatever their life paths
Hmm.
are? And of course, we do believe and hope that that is the case, right? Because it's such a bigger way to look at things, and it's so beautiful and collaborative what you're saying versus I am the parent and you are the children, and like it's just there's magic there. There's
Hmm.
possibility that is there for all of those kids and for you guys that wouldn't exist if you weren't doing it that way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I'm just actually just speaking it. I'm just thankful, that it's really, as you know, like as you go through building a business, having a calling, there's a hard side to it. It's not, it doesn't fit with society. It doesn't fit. with a lot of things, and so there has to be benefits, otherwise you wouldn't go through the pain of it, right? And
Like any
so, but
growth,
this is
there's
one,
got to be something good on the other
yeah,
side.
yeah, and no, it's totally worth it. And this, I'm just as I'm speaking it to you, I'm just being thankful, that the kids really have supported us more than anyone to do what we're doing, and to they'd rather be in the Northwoods of the USA or Canada than they would down here sometimes because of the heat. But and some of the activities that they like to do, like rock climbing, and my 20-year-old. But yeah, it's something they've supported us, and we're thankful for that.
Well, and they're growing there, but you never know where their paths will take them. You remind me of my soul family, which is in Hawaii. And we've been working the last few years on, sustainable properties and retreats and there's all these beautiful, beautiful soul calling projects. But they did that too. They came from Canada and left and sold everything and moved to Hawaii and sold their
Mm.
company and they could have my friend and I joke, if we're very long-term friends of mine, and you know I'm not going to swear, but we used to joke that he was just going to F off and go surfing because he's from South Africa. But they didn't. They took the,
Mm.
the resources that they got from selling the company that they built and they bought this land, two properties. And they're creating these beautiful healing centers, and people with addictions come, or even CEOs and entrepreneurs come where they're wanting to do journeys or deep dives into their own, healing. And it's so incredible. They chose to be impactful with the resources that they had. But coming back around to why I was mentioning is because they have three amazing kids that I love so much. But those kids miss Canada. They miss the seasons. They're like, I miss going skiing and
Yep.
snowboarding and all the stuff. And me, I'm from Canada. I'm trying to stay in Hawaii the whole time. But they will probably move back someday.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that's
tough.
yeah.
But like my wife, who's do you know human design
Of
at all? I
course.
haven't asked you
Absolutely.
that.
Yep.
So my wife is a splenic manifester, and she absolutely loves it down here.
So am I.
And I actually, oh really?
Yeah.
Wow,
It's not that
amazing.
common. Yeah.
Um, no, it isn't. It's less than 4% of the Earth, I think.
Well, yeah. I can't wait
So
to meet her.
I have two. I have two in my family. I have a
Wow.
son too that's a splenic manifester. So wow, yeah,
That's
that gives you
interesting.
some idea of some of the calling. Like
Oh,
manifestors
yeah.
often receive deep things to do, and I'm a generator, so I'm not here to
Okay.
have the vision so much as support it. But that's like all of us appreciate her and what she's done for the family for the years over the years, and um, yeah. So this is like yes, we love it here too. I'm not trying to say that we don't.
No,
At the
yeah.
same time, though, this is her thing. Like she loves it, and this is the time she needs to do some
That's so
deeper
amazing.
deeper work herself.
That she has you as this generator, this like solid energy to help her and support her and co create with her. And
Yeah.
because that manifester energy, I have come to know, is not easy to understand. Not everybody, like I know some of my family, really doesn't understand, and it can feel very flighty or very irresponsible, but it's the opposite. It's like, I've got this, yeah, this deep, huge thing that's supposed to happen through me, and you just got to go do it, and nobody understands. And so to
Mm,
have you, Kevin, there to, like, you're such a perfect team. I can see it and I can feel it.
thank you.
That is destiny right there. That's amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with me. That inspires
Well, I
me.
feel like well, I think what might inspire people a little bit more is to so we tell our story like it didn't all start with roses, right? Like
And puppies and rainbows and unicorns.
yeah, yeah, like we had a podcast for a few years called Business Addicts. So we talked about my story as an addict, and so that was really the coping that was behind me not being a leader, and Jamie as really as an enabler, right? Like wanting to not that we're blaming her, but just
No,
like
it's a
that's what
dynamic.
happens, right? We
Yep.
find people that are going to enable us. So but I think the deeper story is like we've shared a past life together in the past, and we've been married before, and I can actually tell you who I was and where the grave is and all that kind of
Whoa.
stuff. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but
Wow.
yet, like, in this life, we've had a chance to really mend a lot of things. Actually, one of our sons was ours in that time as well, about 800 years ago. So, so we've really had a great opportunity, and it's not always like if you hear her side of the story. I'm telling you the end result, and
Right.
it's not always been easy.
But nothing is, especially when you're stepping into your gifts or you're fulfilling a destiny, or if, as you say, there are things that are weaving in from different lifetimes, or, when you're working out
Mm-hmm.
patterns with family members that have, this is part of the homage to our ancestors, right? Because we're all one. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a ridiculous thing to say. It
Yes.
is the way it is. Call it the quantum field,
Yes.
call it unity, call it God, call it whatever you want. We're just manifesting as these individual iterations of consciousness. So if we've been interacting for eons with these different
Mm-hmm.
avatars, these different characters, and there's stuff to work out in every lifetime, this is one of those lifetimes. It just feels to me like it's a pivotal one.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
so this is when you came together like a supernova, and instead of creating patterns to work out later, you're mending them and healing them, and now you're creating something together that is in the service of all.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really super excited about what we're doing in Belief Crew now. Right now,
Can you tell
we're
us about
building
it?
out a
Yeah.
yeah, we're building out a team. So what we primarily do, um, like our clients are usually entrepreneurs that have a calling or some type of significant transition where they're trying to find their calling. So most of them are in their 50s and 60s actually, because they've like tried a bunch of other things previous, and they're like when they meet Jamie or I, but mostly Jamie, because she's the one that networks the most. Um, they just are like, there's something about you that I need in my life, or something about a belief crew that I need in my life, and then we tell them what it might be. So but what we're experimenting with right now is really focusing on our gifts. So giving each of our practitioners, there's 6 of us total, um, like a list of what our gifts are and finding them together, and then
Mm.
pairing people up that have different gifts and
Oh
see
wow.
what happens, you know. And so, like what you might notice, like in coaching, is a lot of times, and I'm not saying anything against coaching because I totally believe in it, but like there's a lot of times where we really have to be patient for someone as they move through things, and and I'm not saying that in Belief Crew that we aren't patient, but there's sometimes where we need a breakthrough, like to
Mm-hmm.
actually serve someone, we need a breakthrough. And sometimes when we bring a couple people together, like someone can do some work and someone can help them talk through things, and it's just the more people we have around us, sometimes it really makes a difference.
I love that. I love that you're building a team and you're so passionate about it. And I'm thinking about the people that you serve, and even the fact that human design comes into play, or gene keys, or things like tools like that are actually super helpful for breakthroughs because it's such a mirror. Like, here's why what you've been doing has been giving you the result that it has, and why, as in human design, you would say you're not self. If you've been doing that, this is why it isn't working, and here's how you could thrive. That's a breakthrough right there, as opposed to having to go into your childhood, which is all valuable, right? All the healing work is valuable. But I see a little hand. That was very cute. um, but sometimes those are catalysts for breakthroughs, right? Just seeing your chart and having someone read that to you properly, or like you said, someone who has totally different chart than you, and recognizing, oh, I don't behave that way at all. Oh, okay, so there are behavior patterns. There is a blueprint. There, like, it's just awareness. Okay, we had to pause there for a beautiful child just for a second. And we were talking about human design and all the tools that you use to help people have breakthroughs and see how they've been behaving. Because, as you said, with coaching and kind of with therapy too, it's like it can be a long slug, to be honest, right?
Hmm.
And this
Hmm.
time in this world and for our species, we don't have time for that anymore. We've gone through 20, 30, 40 years of work so that we can now help other people accelerate their awakening and their stepping into their gifts. We don't have that kind of time anymore. We need catalysts.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's a balance to everything. Like, yeah, we need we need to allow the right amount of timing, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like, why if you see someone that's going through something you've gone through, and if you can speed that up for them, and it's something that it's like in their highest and best good,
Yes.
then let's do that, right? And yes, I totally agree with you with what you said about human design and gene keys. I think it gives us insights into not only our intuition, our authority, like how we're going to receive things. It gives us insight into how our energetic body is defined, and like uh, things like you would know, like as a Swinic manifester, sometimes you're gonna need time to process, and you can
Hmm.
explain that. Like you can make that
And
it makes
rest.
sense to you. Yes, and there's times where Jamie starts to shut down a little bit, not totally, but like after supper, and she needs some processing time. Then she usually needs to talk to me, and then she needs to head to bed a little bit earlier than some of the rest of us. And since we have a bunch of generators in the house, we need to give her some space sometimes, and she'll tell us, and we can be aware of that.
I
And
love that. That's so supportive because
yeah,
there is a
so
lot of
just like learning.
integration required.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is like if we can get the information and understand a little bit more of how we fit in, and obviously it helps if your family is willing to do it together. That
Yeah.
that makes it easier. But even if it's just your friends, like yeah, that helps you learn too.
That's incredible because it's like you're giving every person permission to be exactly how they are. Not that we need
Hmm.
permission, but sometimes we do. Sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, and support in being exactly as they are so they can. I mean, one of the things you guys talk about is I was obviously looking at your website and reading all the beautiful things you're up to. And, you talk about cultivating, helping people cultivate their strengths while also
Hmm.
overcoming their limitations. And a
Hmm.
tool like human design tells you what your strength is. You've been experiencing these things your whole life, but maybe haven't really framed it that way or looked at it that way. And
Hmm.
it gives you that framework to have that conversation that you guys are having. And I know you love going
Yes.
deep one on one with people or two on one. You were sharing that. I can only imagine how impactful that is. Like really,
Mm.
really deep work one on one with you guys or you supporting one person.
Yeah, let me share one thing that
Please.
we've. This is fun to share, because I feel like t today it's not about like intellectual property with this stuff. Like it's really about sharing and letting people, like, as we discover things probably around the world, there's 10, 20, 200 other people discovering it. And
Hmm.
so, like, just being open to sharing. So, one thing we've done in the last year is take the gene keys and start working on each key for going through each one of them, each one in a session, and dig into the gift that is ours in that gene key, and also the shadow, and like why the shadow is there, what we can learn from it, completing any contracts that are holding us back that came from that shadow or the fear of that shadow, and then really leaning in and learning and downloading what is so beautiful about the gift, and what's the opportunity of the enlightenment or the city.
Hmm.
And so, like, you can get very deep without, like, using that just as a structure,
Yeah.
because the
So
structure
deep.
of that, it gives you such deep insight into who we are, what we're learning in this life. Like we have our life's purpose, we have our evolution, we have, like, so how are we changing? We have our 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 life's work. Um, we have a bunch of things that give us insight into how, like our spiritual quotient, our emotional
Oh
quotient. Like, there's
yeah.
so much in there, right?
What
Like
makes
that
you
you
feel
can,
vital? And yeah, it's incredible.
yeah. So I've with another partner of ours, we've been doing that, and I've just been. It really helped both of us. Um,
Wow.
and then we started to realize that we didn't want to take the amount of time it was going to take. So we're like, what if we do this on the beach? Like, I wonder how supportive this would be. Because one thing that happened, we found that was happening was we would do a session, and then like the shadow for the next week's session would start coming into our lives. Like,
Wow.
hey, I'm here, and
Whew.
it was kind of like it's a little bit miserable to, I mean, to see this, and
That's a
we're
little
like
bit
grateful at the same
miserable.
time.
I'm not liking that very
Yeah.
much.
I mean, it was good. It was a mix because it was good to see it as it was, and then it was, but like you have other people in your life, right? And
Hmm.
sometimes that affects them. So we were like, can we do this quicker? So we ended up late last year coming down to Mexico together and doing the work in cenotes and on the beach and in caves and just figuring out like what can we do here? Like how can nature support us in
Yeah.
doing this work? And it worked. I think we learned a lot. Maybe our original goal of completing in a week was a little
Hmm.
overkill. Like probably we would break it up
Because
into
it is deep work.
subsections. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
deep and
It
it,
can
it, it
be.
takes a lot out of people. Yeah. So I shouldn't say it takes a lot out of people. It's like our body needs time to process it, so we can't rush it too much. We
It
need
yeah,
to.
it takes a lot. Yeah, when you're really leaning into it and really willing, there's a lot
Yes.
there, and there's a lot to see, there's a lot to release, there's a lot to expand into, and so our nervous systems aren't used to this kind of work in an entire lifetime, sort of genetically, right? Let alone in an hour or a week or a day, the way that we're
Yeah.
doing things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot to integrate, and even one gene key has such beauty. I mean, the
Yes.
shadows, and when you really look at the gift that's in there and you really see it for yourself, even if it's not on your chart, I love that you went through them
Hmm.
one by one. And I love, I could not love more that you went into nature to do that. I have witnessed that so much in Hawaii as well. Like, I mean, we are
Hmm.
nature, right? We're all made of the same
Yeah.
elements. So the frequency and the resonance when you're in
Hmm.
nature of doing this kind of work, even without plant medicine, without anything like that, just consciousness, because that's
Hmm.
all you're doing with plant medicine is accessing more consciousness, right? I mentioned plant medicine because that's some of the work that's being done at these retreats in Hawaii, but you don't need it. It's like we're already
No.
there.
Yeah.
If we're meditating or
Hmm.
we're doing this kind of work, we're there, and nature feels like she's like, yeah. I remember one time being
Yes.
in the jungle and there was plant medicine involved. I've only done it twice, but I've been a guardian a lot. And
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
that felt more like a calling once I had experienced that a couple times.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
don't need it. And if it's a yes, I will do it, but it's not usually a yes. But I remember just being in this jungle and kneeling down in this gorgeous, just gorgeous little cove. There was a torch and nothing else, and stars and just these leaves, and I was like, "This is the altar right here. Like this is it.
Hmm.
This frequency, this resonance, is we're this. All we need to do is remember that we are this, and
Yeah.
so much will heal."
Yeah. I wonder, like, what what is the breakthrough that you see with those people you're working with? Can you share that?
In
Like,
that context,
yeah, well, in the nature retreat you're talking about in Hawaii, like, what are some of the big breakthroughs that you see?
I've seen lots. It always, from what I'm seeing. So we've worked with people who have addictions, but
Hmm.
even it's almost always someone who is in pain and is seeking relief from that pain. And so the healing work that happens is, as you said, you're either seeing something that you were unwilling to look at in terms of trauma, or you're
Hmm.
recognizing your coping mechanisms, as you would put it, or your limiting beliefs, and then you're coming out of it having released that and being so much more in
Mm-hmm.
your heart. That's my work in this
Yeah.
world, is opening people's hearts. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the game changer, if you ask me. It
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I think so. The thing that, like, I guess I was connecting to, and maybe if I bring it out, you can verify that it's there with your guys' work too.
Yeah.
Like with the whole idea of leading with love is like that understanding that we are love.
Mm-hmm.
That there's, I just feel like that's so important to get to that place of understanding that we are good and that we are love. Especially when you come from like a more strict religious background. I feel
As you
like
do.
uh, that's what's a lot of times missing from what we're receiving in that type of culture, is that it's like you're nothing, like
Ah.
we are we are just here to, I don't know, I can't even connect to that anymore, but it doesn't feel good at all.
No, I can feel that. So I can get that, because it's like telling you that you need to look to something outside of you or above you for that source of love, versus we're made of love. Love is the fabric of space and time, of the universe. It's what we're made of. It's what we are. And coming into that recognition makes you full. It makes you radiant. It makes you joyful. It gives you access to your life force. It gives you truth instead of trying to seek for it. I mean, religion, I know that you have, you shared that it's something that you grew up with, and you had to disassemble a lot of those beliefs and dissolve them, and
Mm-hmm.
the guilt and shame that can come with that. And I've seen that a lot, because it's pretty powerful programming, you
Yes,
know.
I guess my feeling, like to all my friends and family that are still a part of that, is not so much that they're lost or something, right? Like that's the problem, is that
Mm.
we are judging in that way, um, but rather just like seeing that there's an opportunity to go so much deeper than
Mm-hmm.
thinking that we are broken forever. And of course, they would argue that that's not where they're going, but it's kind of where we're tempted to stay if we don't really acknowledge the argument that's been going on since the beginning of time, that we are love and that we
Hmm.
are good.
We are
And even
good.
in the scriptures, it does say that. It's just that we ignored it or something.
Well, I mean, one of the most famous scripture sayings is, the kingdom of heaven is within. It's right
Yeah.
there, right? And so there are beautiful things to religions where it's talking about connecting with your community and with your heart, and charity or compassion and all these beautiful things, but it's just gotten so twisted and so controlling and weird. I mean, we're not going to go there, but it definitely is something that people need. Like, I have friends who call themselves recovering Catholics.
Yep. Yep.
Like they're just like recovering out of something that was traumatic. And there is beauty there. There's beauty everywhere, but we all have our journeys into, oh, this is where the truth is. This is where we can connect with each other. This is where we remember who we are, what we really are, without all the stories that we were told.
Yeah.
Hmm.
One thing that's tempting is to think that there's somewhere else that's perfect, and like you said, the kingdom of heaven is inside of us. Um, it's almost like um, ongoing victimhood, right? Like I don't have any
Hmm.
control, and someday it's going to be okay, and then everything's going to be fixed. But when we do spiritual work, what we realize is like the entirety of the divine is paying attention to the earth, and like they are so interested in what's going on with us, right? And so, yeah, at a certain point, we understand that since that is true, wonder why they're so interested. And that kind of question can help lead us to really what's powerful about the special place we call Earth.
Yeah, it is really precious. And what are we really doing here? And I love how you speak to, just even with your clients, of knowing your gifts, because we have all been given gifts, and it's something I speak to a lot too. Is like, you came here, the way you guys said it was exactly the way again on your website. It's like everybody has a unique purpose, and it, to me, it's like a symphony, and everyone needs to play their note to have this gorgeous symphony. There are so many analogies you can use, right? But if you are like, to me, there's two kinds of humble. There's like, oh shucks, no, me, I don't have gifts. Or there's like, oh, I've been given this, and how may I serve with it, right?
Yeah.
And the oh shucks, no, I don't have any gifts is no, 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 no. Like, yes, and I love how you let everybody be. Of course, like, do what you want to do, and when you're ready, it will unfold and it will blossom. But for those who are thinking about it or leaning into it, who you are serving, who are coming to your retreats, and you know, right there at that threshold, we want you to step into your gifts, to own them, to know them, to embody them, and to share them. That is not conceit, it is divine. It
Mm-hmm.
is using the blessings that you were given that only you can do. No one else can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are doing what only you and Jamie can do.
Mm-hmm.
And together it's more
Yeah.
than the sum of its parts, right? It's like a supernova. You guys are working together. It's way more than just the two of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Energetically.
I love what you're saying.
I
Like, it
can
is
see it.
truly at the end of a life to think that somehow we're
Hmm.
gonna feel better when we did less,
Ah,
instead of acknowledging what our full potential was and allowing ourselves to explore that. I believe that
yes.
it, like, if we feel good about and connect, um, if we have connection in our everyday life with people, with the universe, with everyone, then we are going to, uh, like, the step into the next life is going to be just another step because we're connected in it. Versus if we stand there and we're kind of like regretting that we didn't wake up in all these ways, I think that's heavy. I don't think that it's going to be the end of the world or like you're never going to be able to come back from that. I don't believe that. But like, I think that it's worth, every life is like
Hmm.
super valuable. And I don't think we're deep in our soul, we're always going to acknowledge that. We're going to acknowledge what the potential is for
Right.
one life. Like, we're putting a lot into this too, and we're, whatever goes on between lives, like I feel like there's quite a bit and a lot of decisions that we're making for ourselves and for the benefit of our own growth. And
Hmm.
then to go through that life and not to learn those lessons that we wanted to learn, I think that's heavy.
I
So,
wonder about that too. I think about that too. Is like, for people who, even like using us as an example, if we had that glimmer and we had that inner voice and that calling and we didn't go for it, which is so common. I mean, probably for us, it took us many years even just to be like, okay, all right, I'm going to step into this, right? It's, purpose is not a small thing. And not everybody seems to
mhm,
feel that in this lifetime. But for those that do and aren't exploring that potential, or aren't stepping into that possibility, I've imagined that too at the end of your life. It's actually one of the things that makes me step into it more, is thinking, I was given this opportunity, this amazing life, and this calling that I can feel in this heart, and all this stuff. If I don't do that, like, I'm letting myself let down, I'm letting everybody, who knows, the whole species, who knows? I mean, that's just how it feels. Like, we don't know what part we're playing. And if we don't play it, we didn't do what we came here to do. What kind of regret would we
exactly.
have? Yeah, after we leave this life and we look back and we're like, ah, do we have to go do it again?
Hmm.
Or, like, this is
Yeah,
such a lifetime of opportunity spiritually, it feels like.
yeah. And like you said, especially this time. So
Yes, this lifetime.
being being a part of this time, I think every time has a calling. And
Hmm,
so, each I think each section of time and each generation can, to a certain extent, hopefully look back and be like, oh, we did part of our job, right? I hope that's the way it is.
right.
And like, it's pretty clear what we're here about. Like, AI is maybe technology. is I spent 20 years in technology.
Right. I forgot you
But
have a
maybe what
tech
it,
background.
yeah, well, maybe what it's really doing for us is giving us enough resources and time to step into this, right? And so we look sometimes at the negatives, but possibly what it's really doing is allowing. Think about a future where kids aren't going to be doing mundane, repetitive tasks as much. Now, that could be, I mean, I loved some of the mundane jobs I did when I was young. I'm sure that they'll still be there. I'm hopeful that kids will have that opportunity.
Hmm.
But like as far as like long term, the fact that we really need to connect to our calling, that they need to understand who they are. And if you're going to be even billionaires today are learning about their own calling, like learning about who they
Mm-hmm.
are and wanting to create that brand. And so if we think about these young kids as that they've got to step into, they've got to work through the same things we're working through to, I shouldn't say got to, I should say they have the
Get
opportunity to
to.
look at it that way. They get
Mm.
to um, connect to who they really are and start to let that come out. And the magic that we see in influencers today, when they go through that, can happen for so many more people and so many more connections.
I love that. You said so many things. Before all the lockdowns, and one of the things that was in my purpose was to call people of influence and to say, with this influence that you have, imagine the good that you could do if you started speaking to solutions in this world instead of just like silly influences,
Mm-hmm.
kind of fluffy and for nothing. And
Yeah,
now with
yeah.
like what you said about AI being giving us this structure or this platform to launch that creativity because we're not in survival all the time, and that the children do have that. That's really beautiful because I've been a little concerned, but it also is offering us this gorgeous opportunity to recognize how precious our life force is and our own individual voices and our souls. It's like right there. Your soul is real. It's, your voice, your authenticity comes from your life. Like AI isn't resonant, right? It doesn't have
Correct.
that life force behind it. And so already just in the year and a half that this has been so just flooding everywhere, I can see this beautiful, it's almost like a backlash where people are coming back into their hearts being like, wait, like our voices and our connection and our community is becoming more and more important and precious. And that is creating a
Mm-hmm.
groundswell of realness and
Mm-hmm.
authenticity that I love. I love, love, love. It gives me hope.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, I mean, not to bring up a terrible subject, but like a little bit like COVID. Like you think about the negatives, which were huge, but then like think about the changes that people started to awaken. Like come to like Tulum down here near where I live, about 10 kilometers from where I live, is a place that really grew from COVID, where people got together for music festivals and spiritual
Hmm.
gatherings, and you know they and it's maybe it's not perfect because they don't have the infrastructure for the size yet,
For all
but
the
at
people.
least like that's something you can like literally see that coming through that spot where
Yeah,
people came there and tried to figure out what was next for them. And it still is that today. Like if you go to a
totally.
networking event there, yeah, it's just people that are searching for that.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
we have an opportunity, just like we did with COVID, to take something from it, a very negative thing, but to take something from it and realize like, oh, I really want to go a little deeper into my own fulfillment, my own opportunity, and that's the same I think the AI does for us,
Nice.
or will
Even
do.
that isolation, it was my hope, and I have seen that to be true for many people, that it kind of forced people to look at their own stuff and do their healing work and grow,
Yeah,
and then come out
yeah.
of it a new being where maybe they were looking around and seeing they might have some purpose, and it wasn't just hustle and grind like it was before, or that silly fluff, whatever. And so it's just so interesting. There are gifts in everything, and I love that you see that. There's one more thing I wanted to touch back in because you were talking about billionaires and you were talking about the end of your life and things like that. And you said something in your email. You said something about succeeding in Act Two, even if Act One was a bit rough.
Hmm.
And that a lot of your clients and people that you're mentoring are in their 50s and 60s even, and sometimes 40s. And I see such beauty in that so I work with a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs and things as well, and because I've been in that world, and I've also been in the feet on the land, retreat. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm building a bridge, and that new leadership is being called forth, which is what you guys are doing. It's wisdom and heart. One or the other doesn't work. Just the intellect has been destructive, right? And just love,
Yeah.
if you're just sitting around singing kumbaya on a beach all the time with no money, like you really can't have that much impact, like we said. And so if you're taking people who have been successful, but now their hearts are opening, like that's what it seems like you're doing to me, because I recognize that work, and they're thinking, oh, wait, maybe I do have a purpose. Wait, what's going on here? Wait, did I come here for something? Wait, do I have gifts that are supposed to be shared? I have influence, I have money, but I haven't been using it in service to this beautiful world, to our beautiful species, to our children, to our earth, whatever. That is such amazing work that you're doing. And that's the act two that can make, like, that's world changing energy right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've mostly been talking, like, when I talk to women entrepreneurs, especially, and we talk about what does success look like. When you get down to it, it's not just the dream home, it's not just the bank account, it's not just the 401k, or even the business success.
No.
It's the relationships. It's everything. And so, if you were to take just success from a business standpoint, right? A lot of us have created that
Yeah.
to a certain extent, right? I think that's fairly common nowadays that with some hard work you can get there. But that doesn't mean that you're doing the rest of it. And
Nope.
we aren't satisfied unless, in my opinion, and this is my focus, is like we're truly satisfied when we connect to the calling that we have that has meaning beyond us. When we start to step into it and accomplish it to a certain extent, it doesn't have to be that we have completely accomplished it, but we're on the road and we start to get a feeling of how impactful we can be. And then we start to meet other people and build relationships around that, right? And when and even if, let's say you're in a relationship where the other person, a romantic relationship or a significant other relationship where the other person doesn't get it, when you go to the spiritual side, you have more than 50% influence because now your energy becomes attractive to them. And so that's, I mean, even in a case where maybe you're growing your spiritual network, but yet some of the people that are closer to you aren't stepping into that, you still have influence, positive influence on them by the work you're doing. And that feels good too because you're seeing them slowly over time, or maybe even quickly, come to understanding that, hey, you're doing the work, you're feeling fulfilled, you have a peace, right? All of that, and then suddenly that becomes very attractive, and they want to join you. So I think that a lot of times that we don't figure that out in our 20s and 30s,
Right.
and our energetic body isn't completely matured until later. So
And that's okay.
in our 28 to 52, we get some of that definition, some of that maturity, and what do you know? We start to have more of the pieces put together. And it sometimes looks like maybe it's the tough stuff, but really it's the opportunity that's fully coming to us.
Right. And that's the experience that gives you the wisdom that allows you to have leadership, and bringing your heart into the game is like the most beautiful combination. And I'm just listening to you, and I'm just so grateful that so many people are doing this work now and doing this expanding consciously
Yeah.
and spiritually and bringing it into the business world, because that's something sometimes I feel alone in, but I know that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you more
That's
than you
right.
know for that, because this is the business world is still running, right? It's running on commerce, it's running on, got to have that bottom line. And people think if you bring your heart into the game, it's like somebody asked me the other day on LinkedIn, Well, how do you keep your competitive edge if you're putting your heart in the game? Like, that is the competitive edge. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people, the more
That's the secret.
precious, yeah, the more I've experienced that myself. I was far more successful when I decided, forget it, I'm just going to love my clients. I'm going to bring my heart into the game. Way more successful. And I was hustling like
Mhm.
nobody's business before. And it's amazing. It truly, like, I have way more, loyal clients, and pardon me, it's fascinating. It is new leadership. And people
Mhm.
are ready. And
Yes.
maybe they weren't 5 years ago, but they are now. Enough
Mhm.
people anyway that it's making a wave of change, or what you guys call positive. What did I have in my notes? Like a ripple effect of positive change.
Mm.
I like to call it a
Yeah.
tsunami, but the wave of change is like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's so
Mhm.
great. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Kevin. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time. I know with your 6 children and your business and your lovely wife, you're very, very busy, so I appreciate you showing up for as long as you did and as fully
Oh,
as you
you're
have.
welcome.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Where can people find you? What do you want them to know before I let you go?
The easiest way to find us is through our website or on LinkedIn. So www.beliefcrew.com
Mm-hmm.
or on LinkedIn under Belief Crew or Kevin White.
Perfect. And that was perfect timing because I think I heard children in the background. So you go enjoy your family. Thank you so much. And I look forward to
All right.
connecting more
Thank
with
you.
you and Jamie very soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoyed this episode and it helped you open your heart, feel inspired, and know that we are all connected. Please subscribe and share so this work can touch more people. This is how we co-create the world we want to live in. Thank you so much again for joining us, and talk to you next time.